Welcome to Albuquerque Real Estate Talk for January 2024.
Four.
First week of January. Glad to be here talking about real estate, episode 474.
Four.
Tracy?
Yeah, here we are. Starting out 2024 with a good recap of 2023, right?
Yeah, well, we did some of that last year, and then
Last week.
yeah, well, it was last year though.
That's true.
Oh, yeah. See, I made a mistake, but it was really last year.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's Tego and Tracy Venturi of the Venturi Group of Real Broker. We come here every week talking about real estate in the Albuquerque market, bringing you news, stats, data, tips, tricks, you name it, on the real estate market. So love doing it. And Tracy, what do we have this week?
Sure. So I know that you're going to do a little bit of a roundup, right, of 2023, because last week we just had some preliminary information. I know we're going to talk about some tips to getting your home ready to be on the market, some of the top 3 things that are important there. Talk about the best month to sell a home, but is statistically the highest sale prices every month during a year. Right?
I went down the rabbit hole on that one,
Yes,
trying to
you
figure
did.
out what is the best month to sell your home in the Albuquerque area.
So we're going to
we'll
get
into
to that.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I'm sure we'll have some other off-topic stories, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Tracy, let's lead off. And if you want to get a hold of us, we're the Venturi Group of Real Broker, and we're at 505-448-8888. Happy to help any way we can with your real estate needs. Tracy, MFA, Mortgage Finance Authority, New Mexico Mortgage Finance Authority just announced a new program. And if you're not familiar with the MFA, they are a entity here in the state that helps people with down payment assistance, different type of housing assistance. But they just launched a new program, and it looks extraordinary.
They did. And, so they typically, the Mortgage Finance Authority has a down payment assistance program to help with the closing costs and a little bit of down payment right now, typically, but they've added an enhanced one that's like a third lien on the property where they'll give you more money towards down payment. And there's only certain lenders in the state.
I'm grinning because it used to be called First Down. Now it's called First Down Plus.
Yeah, First Down Plus.
It has a plus.
So this is a new program. They just put the parameters out this week to how to qualify for it. Only certain lenders in the state actually do offer the loan program through the Mortgage Finance Authority. So if you're interested in knowing more, let us know. We can make sure we get you with a lender that actually does these programs. But the plus now is extra money to help with down payment to get more people into homes that might not otherwise have the money or qualify. So you have to have a minimum credit score. And this is money that can only be used for down payment. It cannot be used for the closing costs. However, it's like another loan. So you've got the first loan, a second loan. This is a third one. And there is some repayment on it. But if you go 10 years and meet certain criteria, they may forgive that money that they're giving you to get into a home. So it's a great program. Lenders cannot start claiming those funds and putting them aside because there's limited amounts of funds. The lenders can start putting their name on certain amounts of those funds for a certain person on the 12th of the month. So if this is something you're interested in, get with us right away and we can see if you qualify and what you might qualify for and help you find that home.
And along with that, we will direct you to a lender that's local, that knows these programs, that understands these programs and can work you through it, because it's not every single lender is going to be able to. They might offer it, but you really need somebody that understands the ins and outs of working with the Mortgage Finance Authority.
Right. And a lot of lenders don't offer it, especially out-of-state lenders. It's mostly just local lenders that work with these down payment assistance programs. So it's a great one.
Yeah. MFA program. Give us a shout if you or you know anybody that's looking for these kind of down payment assistance programs.
Just one last thing on that. First-time home buyer is somebody who hasn't owned a home in 3 years.
Good point.
You could have owned a home before and still be a first-time home buyer. So give us a call.
Yeah, that's
Tego, let's move on.
Yes.
2023.
Yes.
We finished the year. We're happy to be in 2024. We're getting some moisture this week, which is great for most parts of the state. We love it. We can use it. So give us a quick roundup of what you know about 2023.
I think the takeaway for 2023 was a housing slowdown. And when I say that, I'm talking about the number of homes sold. Obviously, Tracy, we've been talking about it, seeing it all year long in 23, but we've got the final numbers that came in. In the Albuquerque area, there were roughly 9,000 homes that sold, 9,000 resale properties. I take that back. I'm sorry. It's 8,762.
So not even.
Yeah, I had to get. I knew 9 in my head. I had to actually look at the exact data, but yeah, but the thing to take away from that is if we go back to the end of last year, it was 11,200, so 22% less from 22. 22 was 14,000 homes. I said 11,000 less. So yeah, it was about 14,000 in 21, 11,000 in 22, and just shy of 9,000 in 23.
Yep.
So we've definitely seen a step down about 20% per year in the number of homes selling. People are just not moving as often is really what it comes down to. So that's one of the big takes.
And that's for a lot of reasons that we don't have to go into today. Our listeners, they know.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it all year. So do you want to talk about 2024?
Well, let me just give a couple more data points here on pricing, because some people, when I say there was a market slowdown, they hear prices dropped.
Right.
We're talking about two different things here. We're talking about the number of sales are down in the United States countrywide. The number of sales are down, right? Lowest we've seen in a very long time. However, prices have been kind of holding steady. So give you an idea here. Median price for December came in at where's we had here for a single family detached home, $330,000. That's the median price.
330, and that's pretty much just the Albuquerque metro close in area.
Yeah, that's Albuquerque metro single family detached resale homes, right? I got to put all these caveats to it because
not new construction.
Not new construction. I want to strip out new construction because most people are more concerned about
their home,
what's happening with my home that I am living in.
Right.
Exactly. Thing is, and that's only about 3.5% higher. Single family attached, excuse me. So these are condos, townhomes, closer to 10% appreciation. Those came in at $269,000. But the one thing that I always go back to is price per square foot. How did price per square foot change in our market in the last year? And across the board, it's about 6% higher for all property types. It's somewhere in that 6-7% basically is where it ends up being. There was a report that just came out. I posted it on my Facebook earlier this week, and that was the data from Freddie Mac. So they just came out with their year over year number, and for the Albuquerque market, they say home prices went up 6.4% in the last year,
which is right in the range you were just saying based on your analysis.
Yeah, exactly.
Good job.
The other thing they did is they did an analysis saying from March of 2020, which is kind of like
interesting date.
It's an interesting time. Yeah, I mean that's kind
March
of
2020.
March 2020s. Some big things happened right then. Home prices in the Albuquerque area since then have gone up 49%. And,
wow.
I've been saying 50%, but yeah, I mean basically that's what it is. And so I just every indicator is that home prices went up in 23. There's no other way to take it.
Less home selling, home prices went up.
Yep.
And our listeners say they've been hearing us say that, and like you said, we have to have the distinguished. We have to distinguish between sales volume and sales prices, right? Prices are still going up.
Yeah.
And we believe in 2024 they're going to continue to rise, not like they did in 2021.
No,
2022, but more like 2023.
And honestly, I hope not. We don't
We
need
don't want that.
17% appreciation in 1 year. That is not sustainable. We talked about it back when that was happening. We're like, oh man, this is not good. I hope it slowed down.
The good news, though, is home affordability has gotten better in the last 2 months because interest rates have come down.
Yes.
So it's really helped. We have a few people that are now looking for homes because the market has shifted a bit and they're out there going, okay, now I can afford that payment.
I was at a realtor event. Okay, this is going to sound bad because I don't want to pick on people, but I was at a realtor event the other day and somebody said, "What are interest rates today?" I'm like, "You're a realtor. How could you not know?" Anyway, but yeah, I mean, mortgage rates are now in the, you can get into the mid sixes, high sixes, percent, which is about 1.5% lower than it was not that long ago, a few months ago. So, yeah, I mean, mortgage rates and, it's interesting because there's this whole conversation about mortgage rates are going to keep going down. That's the big projection because the Fed came out and said they're going to drop their rates, which everybody's saying, okay, well, that'll trickle into mortgage rates, which will, and now there's a lot of people going, well, I'm going to wait until
because maybe they're going to come down again.
They're going to come down again. But you know what? You know how many times people have been wrong about mortgage rates, predicting mortgage rates after doing this for 15 years, Tracy? The timing is never right on what people think mortgage rates are going to do. So, I think people need to make decisions more based on what their situation is. If they can afford the payment that works for them, it's the house that works for them. And yeah, you want to get it the best rate you can, but sometimes it's hard to chase that.
Tego, remember back when we first started being on the radio with Eddie Aragon and the Kiva, and he had a studio on, I think it was San Pedro, and we would drive there and podcasting wasn't a thing. Nobody had a podcast studio set up, right? We'd go there and we'd record the radio show and we talked about interest rates. And it was like we were predicting things and most of the time we were right, but it was interesting to think back how long we've been talking about real estate and topics on the radio and on the internet and how it rolls, you know?
Yeah.
So let's go on. So we've got spring coming, right? We know that a lot of people hold off on selling their homes over the winter, over holidays, and they're thinking about this coming spring when the kids get out of school or whatever. Some people are PCSing. They're moving from Kirtland Air Force Base to some other base around the world. And they're starting to think about getting their house sold and timing and what they should be thinking about. So you've put some research into that.
We had a question. Well, this question comes up all the time is what is the best month to sell my home?
And best month for what?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I looked at it from a standpoint of what is the peak month for prices in the Albuquerque market? Because
our listeners know prices kind of start right now going, well, they're flat a little bit. And
right
then
now is usually, well, go ahead. Yeah. This
come
time
spring,
of year is the lowest usually point of the year.
We know that there's a peak and then it flattens out again for the rest of the year. Traditionally, when we look at those charts, we see them rise up and then slowly go back to a different level the rest of the year. So what's the research?
Yeah, it's actually, you think about if you drew a line and you just did it like an up and down, like a wave curve, right? Up and down, up and down, up and down. People think that's what happens every year. Well, actually what happens, it goes up, comes back a little bit, goes up more, comes back a little bit. So it's not a straight up and down every year. Every year it goes up a little bit more, comes back a little bit, goes up a little bit more, comes back. And that's what's been happening year over year for many years.
Kind of pulls back through the fall, winter. So, but it doesn't go back. The prices don't go back usually as low as the year before.
Get this. So I did a deep dive on this and pulled out a couple different data points. I looked at price per square foot for our market for all single family detail. I tried to narrow it down so I could, have a good data set here. Single family homes, price per square foot and how much it changed per year. On average, home prices can change 7%. The price per square foot inter-year. And so usually January is the low month. In July is the high month.
June, July.
July. It's actually end up more being closer to July, August. And
that's based on sold prices.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's what I want to get at, Tracy, is if somebody is thinking of selling their home this year and they're saying, okay, the peak month to get the most, or when home prices, when homes close, what month is at the highest? It's usually July. But what does that mean? That means that home, you got to back it up. You got to back up for the escrow period from, contract to close and all the due diligence period. And let's say that's 50 days, which is very common. It's actually 57 days on average in 2023. And you also got to back it up for the time on the market, right? Days on market. How much marketing time is it going to be? Let's say that's another 2-3 weeks. I mean, it depends on the home, right? And that can vary a lot, but on average right now it's running 21 days.
Right. So we're now at, let's just say 45 plus 21. So that's 66.
60 days, 2 months.
60 days,
Yep.
2 months, 2.5 months.
And then you also have to do, which we think is, if you really want to maximize how much you get for your home when you sell it, is preparing it.
Right. So basically there's 3 steps here.
Yeah.
We've got the prepare your home for the market time. And what we know from talking to home sellers for 21 years is they underestimate how long it's going to take them to have their house ready to be on the market. They say, oh, that's all right. I'll get it all ready to go this weekend. And then this weekend, the kid has the flu, or they get to 1/3 of what they thought they would.
I've never noticed on home projects that they take longer than I expected.
Yeah, always. So what we know is people underestimate the time it's going to take to get their house sale ready. And obviously to net the most for your home, putting in that elbow grease and that time up front to fix some things, to clean things up, to maybe refresh
the top of the baseboards.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that you talk about a lot when we walk through someone's house is replace all those outlet covers that have yellowed or that are missing little pieces, or
they're dirty, or they're cracked, or whatever.
Little things.
An outlet wall plate is $1.50, right? It's
I don't know.
Super simple to
cheap,
do. Yeah, they're cheap, and or at least clean them up, because
clean out the light, the globes on your lights and things where bugs have crawled in. Anyway, everything takes time. Deorganize or decluttering, right? Putting away stuff that you're used to having out. You want to make your house as much of a show model as you can, as clean and scent free as possible. And that can take some time. So now we're at 2.5 months from July. And how long does it take to get the house ready, right?
Right.
Some people need a few weeks.
Yeah.
A few weekends, some extra help. They might need to get a storage unit and move some things, or pack up a lot of boxes and put them in the garage. My tip is most people have already decided if they want to buy the house or not by the time they get to the garage. So while it's great to see a beautiful, organized, clean garage, it's okay to pack boxes and put them out there, because people have already decided if they love the house.
I was going to say one thing about, when it's a man and woman couple and who makes the decision in the end. I'll just say the garage isn't quite as important depending on who your decision maker is.
Right.
Just being,
So that's one stage.
Yeah.
So the first stage is house prep, right?
Yeah. And part of that, though, is consulting with a professional that can help you understand what you need to do, because so many times we've seen people do stuff that was either unnecessary or maybe even hurt the value of the property, as they thought maybe it was going to enhance the value, or it cost them more than actually the gain they got out of it. Yeah.
And that's so true. We'd love to get in with you as early as possible to give you that help on what's your punch list. How do we get your house staged to the best possible way to present it? And you're right. A lot of people choose things that bother them that might not be what we would suggest they do. So that's the first thing.
So let me back this up. So best month to list your home. And I wrote this on my Facebook yesterday after, doing this deep dive, or 2 days ago, and a deep dive on this. And so let's say that peak month is June. So let's say June. Okay. And we need time to close. Okay, that's a month and a half. All right, we need time for it to be on the market.
Month and a half takes you back to April.
Yeah, it takes you back to April. And then maybe depending on
How long
time on market, like how long is that home going to be on the market? Some homes just take longer. And part
the average is 21 days, you said?
The average is 21 days. So if it is a $300,000 house in great condition in an area that, is in desirable, it's going to sell fast, right?
Right.
If it's a $1 million, kind of unique, has a few kind of quirks to it that maybe not for everybody, you have to take that into an account when you're thinking about, okay, how long is it going to take to find the right buyer for this property?
Right. So now we're sort of to the beginning of April, end of March.
People are going, you guys are just talking in circles, aren't you? I know it, but it's like there's so many things to consider. That's just it, right?
Right. So really, we're looking at March. If you want to sell your house this summer, we should be getting your house on the market.
We should be talking right now. I know it's January, but we really need to be talking right now. You need to, if you are going to be selling this year, you need to be thinking about it right now, starting to put a plan together, thinking about doing your punch list in February. And so you can, hit the market ready to go.
So
I just on a side note on this, Zillow did a survey earlier this year, in 23, end of 23. I know I got to, it's like that whole thing, every time we go through this, every year we got to think about, okay, what year are we in?
I did write 2024 on a document today. I was really proud that
I wrote a check yesterday and I had to stop and think about it. I know I don't write
a paper check.
A paper check. Yes, I know. So 1990s.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Anyway, no.
The Zillow study.
The Zillow survey, and they were just, regrets of home sellers, right? And we always talk about the one that people, regret they didn't take enough time to get the home ready, get it shined and polished and ready. One that came up this last year was not just the curb appeal, but the digital curb appeal, right? Doing everything right and making sure you get the really good marketing collateral, if you will, for the home, and
it's very important
digitally, right?
Yeah.
Which leads us to Zillow Showcase listing.
We have a special program. We're one of the few in the whole state that has been offered this program, and we have opted to buy it. And we are now offering this for some of our home sellers, Showcase Plus with Zillow.
Yeah. So
some premium marketing.
What's every year there's just more and more progression in, how properties are displayed online. And now we have interactive floor plans on the digital, on Zillow, right on the website. As people are looking at the home, they can click on a room and know exactly what room they're in. Because if anybody's ever looked at properties online, they're clicking through photos going, okay, how does that room connect to that room? And wait, what am I looking at here? Well, now it all comes together because you have the floor plan and the photos interacting
together. And it shows
together.
you on the floor plan where you're at when you're looking at the photo.
Yeah.
Although when you're on Zillow looking at these properties, don't click ask for a realtor on Zillow. Call us directly. Don't click for there. You'll get some random person that's going to try to help you with that house. So call us 448-8888 and we'd be happy to help you. But if you're thinking of selling, let's talk about the Showcase Plus and see if it's the right fit for your property to get you premium online marketing.
All right. It's the first week of 2024 here in Albuquerque, talking about real estate. We got to do a little bit of crystal ball forecasting here, Tracy.
Okay. I know you've been doing a lot of research and looking at a lot of people that have prognosticators and what they're all thinking and saying.
Prognosticate in public.
Yeah. Well, so here we are prognosticating. No.
So we are going to I can say that.
We have our own feet on the street beliefs, right?
Yeah.
So
and that's what I want to hear what you're thinking, because I've got data, but I want to hear what you're like, just like the feel, like the gut instinct of what 2024 is going to be like in real estate.
Okay, you done talking? Okay. Cut me off.
Welcome to our dinner conversation.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I see all these different people from all over the country or world or wherever they're at telling us what we're going to expect in Albuquerque. But we're here with feet on the street 30 people working together on Venturi Realty Group to help home buyers and sellers and investors with their real estate needs. And what my belief is for 2024 is that almost 8,000 some houses that were sold this past year, I think we're going to be up. I think we're going to sell more homes this year in our market. I don't know if we'll be to the 11,000, but that's not my deal. That's more you numbers. But I feel like we're already seeing an uptick. There are people who were kind of on the fence, waiting to buy, people waiting to sell, and some waiting till the holidays were over. And I feel a bit of energy around the market picking up. I believe, based on everything I've seen, our home prices are going to continue to go up in 2024. Again, a nice steady pace, maybe a little bit above what's healthy of 3 to 4%. Maybe it's more 5 to 6%. I know I'm not the numbers girl, but I believe that's kind of what we're going to see for the year.
I heard somebody say it feels like it's a rubber band that's been stretched and stretched, like our housing market, as in you've got all this pent up energy around wanting to sell or wanting to buy. And there's just a lot of like, okay, I just, want to get this going. Right. And so I feel like there is something going to happen in that sense. There's a lot of energy, I think, around that. And that, we just don't know, but that's the feeling we have based on lots of conversations with lots of people,
I think too, we have a lot of really great loan programs available for a lot of different circumstances right now. There was a time where there was just not, if you did not fit in this tiny little box with your credit score and your employment or your net worth or whatever, you couldn't get a loan. I think we're to a point now where it's very solid lending. It's not like risky. It's not like
2005 loans.
No, not like that. You still have to qualify. You have to have decent credit, but there are loans for, let's say you need to sell to buy, right? And you're going, how do I do that? I don't want to sell and have to move somewhere just to be able to buy. There's plenty of lenders locally now who can do bridge loans, or they can do home equity lines of credit against the value of your current home to get you money. Yeah. So lots of really good lending programs.
Let me give you some just kind of across the board, some
data.
Yeah. What some projections are. So there's one survey that happens every quarter where they this group goes out and surveys 100 different economists and experts in the housing world, and it's the Pulse, the Fannie Mae Pulsenomics, I think is how you say it, and I like to look at it, and there's a few people I kind of follow that are on this survey that jump out at me. Auction.com, the chief economist there, I like because that group specializes in distressed properties in particular.
Distressed meaning foreclosure type properties.
Yeah, foreclosure. Zillow, we know they got a lot of great data. Anyway, just on and on. CoreLogic, which has probably the largest database on housing in the country, no doubt about it. But across the board, the thing that's interesting, though, is Zillow's projection for the United States is 0 in their most recent read. Now, on this survey of all these different economists, the average is 2.5% price appreciation next year, this year, 2024. But Zillow saying 1.7% zero nationally. The thing I like about the Zillow survey or the Zillow projection is they break out every market, and they put Albuquerque at 1.7%. So they're actually projecting Albuquerque higher than nationally. They're saying 0. I think they're wrong. I think it's not going to be 0. I think there's going to be more appreciation in that.
It's interesting because as you scrolled through all those different places that have put out what they believe is going to happen in 2024, I saw some that were in the 7% range, right, some minus almost 4% range.
There's one person that's a minus 10, but I think this person specializes in commercial, so that could happen, right? So when you hear things about real estate and that there's a real estate crash coming, well, okay, Commercial real estate's a whole different world. And yes, there are some concerns there because of the way the mortgages are structured in commercial, but that's a whole different conversation.
We don't see any sort of crash coming, though. Just to say those words scares me, because people heard you say crash, real estate crash, and that's not at all what we're expecting in the residential real estate field.
No, not at all. I would say into 2024, I expect home prices to appreciate in 2024 for the Albuquerque area. I expect the number of sales happening is going to increase. I think 2023 was our low year, and we're just going to see more people, moving up, moving down, moving across, whatever it is. We're going to see mortgage rates, I think, stay relatively flat, probably be in this low 6, mid 6 range all year. Some people are saying we might get into the 5s, but I'm a little.
I think the Fed policy is too tight for that.
Yeah.
So one of the takeaways from all that you just said to me is, for home buyers, don't wait till April, May, June to buy if you're thinking of buying, because that is the peak of home prices for the year. So we're going to see it steadily go up between now and early summer.
Yeah. Well,
and then
probably
typically,
midsummer.
And then it'll flatten out again through the year, but not come down to where we're at today if we follow 30 years of history.
Correct.
So you might want to buy now while there aren't as many buyers out there vying for those properties, and before they go up a little bit. Home prices.
Beautiful color-coded chart. It's on my Facebook. It's also on YouTube, where I break down the seasonal pricing patterns here in the Albuquerque area. So you can look it up on YouTube. It's the Venturi Realty Group, or on my own personal Facebook. It's Tego Venturi. And we are the Venturi Group with Real Broker.
That's right.
In Albuquerque.
Always happy to talk real estate. So we're at 448-8888. You know how to reach us. We're also on the web, welcomehomeabq.com. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on the Kiva. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.